And scene. Last time we left off, Dekana would have been leaving Dagon Beach after finishing her training under the tutelage of All Might. All Might would have called Nico to let know of Dekana's whereabouts. After doing so, All Might himself would receive a call as to the whereabouts of Deku Midoriya, and he would wind up having to leave the beach not too long after Dekana would. So then we would turn to the League of Villains as Shigaraki is walking next to Dabi, and Dabi is telling Shigaraki that I need to go take care of some personal things. So Shigaraki would wind up saying something that would piss off Dabi, and Dabi goes to try and burn Shigaraki, and Shigaraki tries to DK Dabi. Now what happens from there is Kurogiri gets in the middle, stops it, and tells the boys, now boys, we can have time for bloodbaths and battles after we take care of him. To which they would look at each other and they would retract their arms after sending them towards each other, but they would have to pull them out due to the fact that Kurogiri opened portals and their arms would be in different locations. So after this would happen, Dabi would end up walking away and he would say, you got lucky, Shigaraki, and Shigaraki would just kind of laugh. So after this, Dabi would open up a flame gate and he would leave. After opening the flame gate and leaving, Shigaraki would tell Kurogiri to hurry up and go and spy and tell me what happens once you get back. To which Kurogiri does, and he's able to make it in time. So after that, now Dabi would then open up another flame gate in a facility, and that facility would happen to be where Quick Demon is. So he opens it in front of Quick Demon, and basically Dabi says, I thought you'd be more menacing. So Kurogiri comes out and he heads into the shadows, and as he's watching this, he can see the face of a teenager, and basically this teenager looks no more than the age of 14 years old. So Kurogiri is kind of shocked at this, as I believe their youngest would be Dabi and then Shigaraki. So what happens from here is that Dabi would charge at Quick Demon, and he would try to burn him, but Quick Demon would wind up right elbowing him, giving him 6 consecutive shots to the body, and then kicking him, basically dropping him instantly. So after doing this, Kurogiri would be frightened because while the fight was going on, he looked around to see that this kid had done this billions of times before, over. So by now, he's a freaking pro at it at best. So Kurogiri sees that Quick Demon has now directed his attention towards him, and he realizes he's looking at him because all he sees is that Quick Demon turns his head towards his direction, and he's looking like straight into his eyeballs. So he gets terrified, honestly, and tries to make a break for it, but Quick Demon disappears, and when Kurogiri looks back to check his P's or his Q's, he ends up getting blasted straight in the face by a red beam, and after getting hit with this, it would wind up injuring Kurogiri. And then afterwards, we would flip from that to All Might. So All Might is now outside of the facility in the underground, and he tells everyone let him go in first, and that's what he does. So he goes in there, and by the time he races in there, he gets there in time to see the mess, see the collateral damage, and just get a overall estimation as to who did it and what happened. So then he would wind up seeing the young man, and before he can say anything, he would look down and see that he has caught Dabi and Kurogiri, two villains that were impossible to catch. So he's now impressed with this kid, and still realizing that he is not, in his full right mind, he would then press the button, knowing that most likely it's clear and that he'll be there to stop anything. Plus knowing that he has trained Dekuna. So since that's the case, he presses the button and it signals her, and she comes in. And then she would come in floating up to Quick Demon and realize that Quick Demon is her brother. So she would then have open arms and a actual genuine mood to her, to which would help Deku or Quick Demon calm down, and he would end up falling into her arms. After that would happen, and Dekuna has gotten a chance to get her brother out of there, All Might raises his right hand and gives a signal for the police to come in and sweep the area. Now, after the police have done this, they would put this on lockdown, and they would let All Might know if they find anything. So after this would happen, we would more or less pan over to Deku, Dekuna, and Inko. Now they're interacting as a family again. They're talking, they are laughing, they're somewhat celebrating, and they're just, relaxing. Now, what happens in between this time is that after a short time, when Inko tells Dekuna and Deku that she's gonna go get dinner warmed up, it'll only take her a few minutes. Dekuna takes this time to explain to Deku what's the reason why she asked him not to look down as they would get older, and exactly what's going on with her, and where he got his powers from, and more importantly, what's up with her genetic makeup. So after she explains everything to Deku, he more or less comes to the realization, and he tells her that regardless of what she is, she's still his sister and they're still family, so it doesn't even matter at this given point. To which does bring about, a genuine smile on Dekuna's face, and her face, in terms of happiness, it's erupting, and she's red because she can feel his genuineness about it, and that, he's being real. So this overwhelming feeling that she has would cause her to jump up and hug him, and she would have control of her strength, so she wouldn't strangle him or crush him. Now, after hugging him, she would be fully convinced that he is the better half of, humanity, and that if more people were like him, maybe the world would be different in terms of everyone when it comes to abilities, quirks, and just treatment overall. To which by then Inko would wind up calling both of the children to come eat, and everything would pretty much go back to the way how it was, and their family would be whole again. Now it's important to note that we would flip from that to Dekuna at school, and more or less she is going throughout the day, and it's not until she gets to her last class that this time her brother, I'm gonna say that he's not back yet. So what happens is that Bakuna approaches Dekuna before class starts, and she kind of starts to warm up to her, and she's not kissing up to her, she's just warming up to her and trying to be friendly, but she still has somewhat of a rivalry, except it's more calm and controlled and tamed. So basically, that's the type of relationship that is building between both Bakuna and Dekuna, where Bakuna is kind of watching Dekuna's lead, and she's kind of mirroring it just a little, but at the same time, she's paying attention to what she says, what she does, which even she is beginning to see subtle changes in her lifestyle, and this is somewhat being apparent to, of course, Dekuna. So Dekuna continues the trend, and she sees it as a way for her to teach Bakuna a better way how to go about life, without using force unless it's needed, or unless you are a designated hero and the situation calls for it. So what happens from here is that we would skip over to that, with basically Deku being at home. Inko, I would say that she would receive a call from Hisashi, and he would get an update, about what has been going on, which Hisashi would ask her how has his updates been, to which she tells him they're good, but he's still not off the hook, and he tells her, he knows. And that's when he would tell her that he just wanted to check on her, that this would be a short call. So basically, after, Sashi would tell her bye and Inko would tell him bye, Inko would then receive another call herself, but this time it's actually from All Might. And All Might would speak to Inko over the phone and tell Inko that he was thinking that if Deku can graduate from school, he would not mind training him and have Dekuna train him, so that way he can enter UA and be close to Dekuna, so that way you don't have any worries about what will happen to the children if they should go too far. To which at first doesn't seem plausible to Inko, honestly, but I'm gonna say, as Inko thinks about the type of personality that Dekuna has, and who she is, it would make sense. So she agrees to this, and that's what they wind up agreeing on. Now, we would flip over from that, and I'm gonna say we would do a skip into the next month, and Deku is back in school. He's readjusting, and his teachers are seeing him again, and after they see him again and they see his work, and they see how much he's continuously improving with the work day in, day out, they are happy, so they do their best they can to give him leeway with certain things, and knowing that he has a condition, they do it in incremental margin, so that way it's not too much on him. So after doing this, what happens next is that Deku would be going home in the afternoon, and basically after classes are over, and Dekuna, she would be off at her of course at one of her club activities, so that would leave Bakuna to come up and kind of talk to Deku, and Deku would be cool, but as soon as Bakuna mentioned why didn't you call for those 5 months, it brings out a nasty headache, to which Bakuna tells Deku, I'm sorry, please forgive me, forget about it, don't even bother sweat it. So Deku tells Bakuna that he has to go home because he has a headache now, and she kind of says, she's sorry, she didn't mean it, and she'll see him around. To which he does end up going home. Now, both him and Dekuna are home, and I'm going to say that they're at the dinner table about to speak to Inko about something. So I'll end it here, guys, and I'll see you in the next